I lived with my mom and dad in Boston, in a house right across from the park. My mom was a marketing consultant, and my dad was an attorney. Until a couple of months ago, Mom worked from home and was always the one who kept the house running. Eventually, her company called her back into the office full-time, and with the long commute and exhausting hours, she just couldn't keep up. So, she hired Miss Carter to help her. She was this quiet, middle-aged woman who hardly ever spoke above a whisper. She started coming every day. She'd arrive in the morning and leave in the evening. At first, everything seemed perfectly normal. Mom was satisfied with her work. She cleaned, did the laundry, and made dinner. All of a sudden, she started acting weird towards me. She'd cook exclusive meals for me and made special things she said were my favorites, even though I'd never told her what I liked. She'd rearrange my room without asking, move my stuff around, and change where things were. When I told my mom about it, she said Miss Carter was just trying to be helpful and that I should appreciate it. But it didn't feel helpful. It felt invasive. My folks' deaf ears made Miss Carter even more smug. She started correcting my manners at the dinner table, telling me how to sit and how to hold my fork, like she was my parent. When I objected, she said,
"Your mother doesn't understand you like I do."
It made my skin crawl. I started paying more attention and noticed the small accidents that had become all too frequent. My mom once slipped in the kitchen and said the floor was wet, even though Miss Carter had just mopped and it should have been dry. A few days later, she got really sick with food poisoning and was in bed for 2 days, throwing up, and she couldn't eat anything. Miss Carter brought her soup and tea and took care of her, but it was Miss Carter who had been the one to cook dinner that night my mom got sick. 3 days later, my mom almost fell from the second-floor balcony while having her morning coffee. She was leaning against the railing, and it gave way and broke. She caught herself and didn't fall, but she could have, and she could have died. When my dad checked the railing, he said it was loose, like the bolts had been unscrewed. He fixed it and said it must have been old and worn out, even though we just had the whole balcony redone last year. I started putting it together. All the accidents happened after Miss Carter started working here, and they all happened to my mom, never to my dad or me. I was convinced Miss Carter was behind it, and that she was trying to hurt my mom on purpose. So, one evening, I gathered up the courage, went to my dad, and told him everything. He listened patiently, but told me I was being ridiculous, and that I was imagining things. Miss Carter is a kind woman trying to help our family. You should never accuse people without proof. It's wrong and unfair. I tried to argue, but he wouldn't listen. That Mother's Day, Mom was over the moon. She'd had the day off and was planning this dinner for days. Miss Carter helped cook. I watched her the whole time, especially everything she put in the food, but couldn't find anything out of place. The dinner was normal. We ate, talked, and laughed. My parents allowed me to stay up late to watch a movie, and when it was time for bed, Mom tucked me in at around 10. I fell asleep shortly after. A couple of hours later, I woke up to a sound, feeling a presence in my room. I opened my eyes to find Miss Carter standing beside my bed in the dark, smiling down at me. I froze. I couldn't move or scream.
"Don't worry. I'll be a better mother to you."
Leaning closer, she stroked my cheek and whispered in my ear. Suddenly, I found my voice and screamed as loud as I could. My dad came running. He turned on the light and saw Miss Carter by my bed. "What's going on?" he asked her, even though I was the one who had screamed. He and Miss Carter shared a look.
"Tell him."
She grinned. My dad closed the door and locked it. My stomach dropped and heart started pounding. Miss Carter isn't just our house help. She's very important to me. We've been together for a while, and we've decided it's time for a change. Time for your mother to go, and us to be a family. I couldn't breathe. Wait, the accidents? You were in on it? I gasped.
We were trying to make it look natural, but your mother kept surviving. We're done waiting.
Miss Carter moved toward me. I jumped off the bed and ran to the door. It was locked. I rattled the handle. My dad grabbed my arm. I bit him hard and he let go. I ran to the window. It was already open. It was a long drop, but there was a tree. Miss Carter was approaching me with a lamp in her hand. Before her fingers could reach out, I climbed out and grabbed the branch. It cracked, but held. I climbed down and scraped my hands, and I hit the ground running. I could hear Dad yelling from the window. He had jumped after. I blindly sprinted to the neighbor's house and pounded on the door, screaming. Fortunately, they were up too, and opened it right in time. I hurriedly got in and told them everything, as Dad pounded on the door outside. They called 911, and when the cops came, they found my mom locked in the basement with a poly bag tightly wrapped around her head. She was barely breathing. My dad and Miss Carter had run away. I stood outside and watched the ambulance drive away with my mom inside. The police still haven't found my dad or Miss Carter. It has been 9 months, and Miss Carter doesn't matter to me anymore. My dad was the one I couldn't stop thinking about. He's gone, and no one knows where he is, but he is the person I trusted most, and he turned out to be someone I didn't know at all. I grew up in Columbus, Ohio with my mom. She's a chemist. My dad was in the military, but he passed away when I was just a year old. So, for as long as I can remember, it's basically been just the two of us. Even though I turned 15, my mom still treated me like a toddler who needed to be spoon-fed and constantly watched. I can't really blame her, though. I've been sick my whole life. Growing up, I had a ton of life-threatening allergies. I'm talking peanuts, dairy, gluten, and even shellfish. It felt like everything wanted to kill me. I carried an EpiPen everywhere and could only eat the special allergy-free meals my mom made me. I couldn't go out to restaurants or join my friends on school trips or eat at their houses, but that was my normal. As Mother's Day got closer that year, my mom became even more protective than usual. She started packing all my meals for school, checking my room every night before bed, and even went through my backpack each morning. I didn't mind it, though. I knew she loved me and only wanted to look after me. Until that Friday, I accidentally ate a forbidden food. My best friend Jake brought cookies that his mom made. Dude, just have a bite. I swear they're like heaven. I know, but I can't. You know that. Seriously? There's nothing in here you can't have. It's just oats and honey. Homemade, like I told you. Really? Are you sure? I can't risk it. I'm positive. Come on, live a little. Try one. So, I did. Jake waited until I swallowed, before casually admitting that his mom had added gluten and even some dairy. I instantly started hyperventilating, bracing myself for my throat to close up and the hives to hit. But, surprisingly, nothing happened. I felt completely fine. I was totally confused. Maybe these ingredients were fine after all. Maybe I'd been wrong about what I was allergic to. I started digging into it, questioning stuff I hadn't noticed before. When was the last time I actually had a reaction? I couldn't remember. All my symptoms only ever flared up at home, even though I was doing everything Mom told me to. It never happened at school or anywhere else. Still, to be sure, I started an experiment and stopped eating the lunches my mom packed. I threw them away and bought cafeteria food instead. Their food definitely had tons of dairy and gluten, but it did nothing to me. In fact, after a week or so, I felt better than I had in years, with more energy and less stomach pain. Dread started creeping in. I badly wanted to deny the truth, but the doubts wouldn't leave my mind. So, the weekend my mom hit up Costco, I snuck into the kitchen and started going through the cabinets. I was checking labels, looking at ingredients. That's when I stumbled on these bottles of meds, totally hidden in the back of the pantry, tucked away behind the cereal boxes. I'd never seen any of them before. The labels had these weird chemical names I didn't recognize, and none of them were the prescribed names I remembered from my doc visits, so they definitely couldn't be mine. I took pictures with my phone and looked them up online. To my horror, it turned out to be a slow poison that would make someone sick without ever killing them. The listed symptoms were exactly the ones I'd had my whole life. I couldn't believe what I was seeing and felt like throwing up. My own mom had been doing this to me. But why? What kind of person even does that to their own kid? I put everything back exactly how I found it and kept quiet. I wanted to sort my thoughts before I made a decision. I wanted to know the truth. It was Mother's Day. Mom made this huge breakfast with pancakes, eggs, and bacon. Every dish on the table was my favorite. She was beaming ear to ear as she slid a plate in front of me.
Eat up, sweetheart. I made it special for you.
I looked at her and then to the food. I'm not hungry. I pushed the tray away. Her smile faltered.
You have to eat. You need your strength.
I said I'm not hungry. She stared at me, and the warmth drained from her eyes. In that instant, I knew she realized I'd uncovered her secret. My heart started pounding in my chest.
You stopped eating my lunches.
She snickered. I neither admitted nor denied.
And you feel better.
Yeah, I feel great, which actually makes me wonder what's been making me sick all along. I waited for her to snap, but her face remained totally calm.
You weren't supposed to figure it out, Daniel.
Why? Why did you do this to me?
Because you were the safest when you needed me. You were growing up and wanting independence, and I couldn't let that happen. You needed to stay mine. You're all I've left.
I stood up and started backing away from the table. You're insane!
I'm your mother, and you'll always be my little boy.
I turned to get as far away from her as possible, but I could only climb 3 steps before everything started spinning. My vision blurred, and my legs gave out. I fell to the floor and couldn't move or think. What did you do? I tried to say, but my mouth wouldn't work right. She walked over and knelt down beside me as she gently touched my face.
I knew you'd stop eating my food eventually, so I switched tactics. I put it in your toothpaste, the shampoo that you use every morning, and your body wash. You've been absorbing it through your skin for days now.
I tried to move, but couldn't. She cradled my head in her lap and stroked my hair.
Don't fight it, sweetheart. Everything is going to be okay. You're safe with me. You'll always be safe with me.
The room was getting darker. I could hear her humming some lullaby from when I was little.
Happy Mother's Day. You're mine forever now.
Portland has been my home for 2 decades, ever since my husband, Mike, and I moved into this house after we got married. It's held every chapter of our family life, from watching our only daughter, Sarah, take her first steps, to handing her the keys to her first car at 16. But it was only recently we were finally able to afford adding another bedroom, which meant we could at last finally fulfill a dream Mike had carried his whole life, becoming foster parents and giving a child the safe, stable home he himself never had. The social worker called us a week before Mother's Day and said she had a girl who needed placement right away. Her name was Emma, and she was 15.
She's kinda shy and quiet. She's been in a bunch of foster homes, but hasn't been able to find her spot because she hardly speaks.
Mike said yes immediately. Emma moved in on a Tuesday. She was polite and reserved and didn't talk much. She brought this small backpack that literally had all of her belongings. The sadness in her eyes broke my heart. Sarah was excited to have a sister. She showed Emma around the house and helped her get settled. Emma smiled and nodded, but didn't say much. She only watched and observed everything, as if she was scared of doing anything wrong. By the end of the week, Emma seemed to be adjusting well. She helped with dishes, did her homework quietly, and never caused any problems. She especially bonded with me and would sit with me in the kitchen while I cooked. She asked questions about recipes and our family. She seemed sweet and grateful to be there. And I had started spending more time with her and noticed little details that I'd otherwise missed. Emma watched Sarah with an intensity that made me uneasy, as if she were studying every little thing, how she moved, how she talked, even how she dressed. One day, I caught Emma wearing one of Sarah's sweaters. Sarah hadn't lent it to her. Emma had simply taken it. When I brought it up, Emma quickly apologized and claimed she thought it was fine to borrow it. I let it slide and just told her to ask next time, but it didn't stop. Soon, Emma was copying Sarah's habits too, and when I mentioned it to Mike, he just shrugged and said it was normal teenage behavior. It was Mother's Day. We were all getting ready for a small celebration. Sarah was upstairs getting dressed, and Emma was in the kitchen helping me with pancakes. Mike was setting the table. Suddenly, a loud crash came from upstairs, followed by an ear-piercing scream. We all ran. Sarah was at the bottom of the staircase. She'd fallen and wasn't moving. We called 911. The ambulance came within minutes. Sarah was unconscious. They took her to the hospital. Mike went with her while I stayed behind to get our things and to lock up the house. I'd totally forgot about Emma, who was still there, standing in the living room.
Emma, let's go,
I said, grabbing the keys. But Emma simply walked to the dining room and sat down in Sarah's usual chair, the one Sarah always sat in for every meal.
Emma?
She looked and smiled at me.
Can I call you Mom?
What?
Mom. Can I call you that? It feels right.
My skin crawled.
Emma, we need to go to the hospital. Sarah's hurt.
I know. I'm glad.
She said it with a smile. My heart started beating faster. I walked toward the stairs and looked at them closely, but couldn't see anything out of place. So I started touching the first few, and right there, on the third step from the top, had a thin, almost invisible layer of dissolved soap on it. I turned to Emma. She was standing right behind me.
You did this. You made Sarah fall.
Instead of breaking down or denying it, she grinned ear to ear and giggled.
I needed to make space to belong here. She was in the way.
I backed away.
You're insane.
I just want a real family. And now there's room for me.
Stay away from me.
But you're my mom now.
As she stepped closer, I kept backing up.
You're supposed to love me. Take care of me. That's what mothers do.
Her voice got angrier, filled with animosity. She lunged at me and grabbed my arm. I tried to pull away, but she was stronger than I expected. We struggled and fell to the floor. Emma was trying to choke me with her hands around my throat. I couldn't breathe or scream. I grabbed her wrists and tried to pull them away. We rolled across the floor and hit the coffee table. I grabbed a lamp and swung it. I hit Emma in the head, and she fell off me. I scrambled to my feet and ran for the door. Emma got up with blood running down her face. She was laughing like a maniac.
You can't leave! I'm your daughter now!
I got the door open and ran outside. She chased me. I ran to the neighbor's house and pounded on the door. They opened it and saw Emma behind me, covered in blood, and called the police. When the cops arrived and took her away, she didn't fight and kept smiling. I went to the hospital. Sarah was okay with a broken arm and concussion, but she'd recover. My husband held me while I cried and told him everything. The police said Emma had a history of doing this before at other foster homes. She hurt other children and tried to replace them. She'd been bouncing between homes for years because of it. They should have warned us. We went home a week later. Sarah was discharged and we walked into the house together. Sarah went straight to her room, where Emma's backpack was still on the bed. We never checked it after she was arrested. Sarah opened it. Inside were dozens of pictures of our family, but in every single one, Sarah's face was scratched out. In some, Emma had pasted her own face